Hey, folks, thanks so much for checking into the Neutral Zone Hotel. We are an unapologetically left-leaning podcast that explores hockey at its best and worst. My name's Benjamin. My pronouns are he, him. I'm an Ottawa Charge and Montreal Canadiens fan out of Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to your stay at the Neutral Zone Hotel. We've got a couple of our colleagues here with us, and I want to start by introducing SJ, who has made a dramatic discovery that I think they want to share with everybody.
Hi, I'm SJ. My pronouns are they, them, and I am a Seattle Kraken, Everett Silvertips, and today, especially PWHL Seattle fan. So, and I did want to share that I got my PWHL Seattle jersey in the mail, and I have made a determination as to color. I got my giant book of Sherwin-Williams paint strips out, and I looked through each one. Yes. Well, they gave this to me at the store when I painted my house. I guess they didn't want me standing there for like an hour. I don't know. It was generous of them because this is a very nice reference. And I matched it as close as possible, I think, to a paint strip. And this paint strip is very imaginatively named Really Teal.
So you would not call that a deep, what did they call it? A deep slate green?
I would say that I don't understand the word slate here. It is a very dark teal, but I definitely think it is a teal. Different teal than my house, which is much more, has more blue in it. It is a distinctly green. But yes, I can understand why in some lights this appears quite blue. It's very dark teal. So yeah, it is perhaps really teal.
Folks, that's some hard-hitting investigative journalism from SJ. So that is Sherwin-Williams Really Teal, code SW6489, hex code 016367, RGB values red 1, green 99, blue 103. In case you yourself were wanting to color something Seattle teal.
Thank you.
All right. I've also got Trevor here today.
Hey, everybody. Trevor here. My pronouns are he, him. A regretful Vancouver Canucks fan, a hopeful PWHL Vancouver fan, and I'm very sorry to everyone who cheered for the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 3, because I will take the blame for them losing in the 18th inning. Because I watched that ball game for 6.5 hours. I went to bed at 11:45 at night. Does anyone want to guess when I woke up this morning?
I know it was at like 3 a.m.
3:30, yes. And
Trevor.
Yeah, I went to bed in the middle of the 18th. And right as I turned my lights out, settled in, stuck my arm under my pillow to pet my cat, I feel my phone go buzz, buzz. My friend texts me, it's over.
It's on you, man.
It's all on me. I know. I just said I'm taking the fall on this.
Yeah.
41 million Canadians are about to send you an angry letter, at least when the rotating mail strikes allow.
Oh, well, at least I have something to look forward to.
We've also got Emily with us here today.
What's up, everybody? I'm Emily. They, them, she, her. Colorado Avalanche, Buffalo Sabres fan, and general PWHL fan, reporting from beautiful Fort Collins, Colorado, where it hasn't snowed yet.
This is important updates.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we've had a little bit of chuckling in the opening segment because we want to jump into some serious news. So what we want to talk about is one of the things we've been talking about for a few years. We want to talk about hockey culture and how it enables some pretty terrible things. So just a trigger warning for this next bit. SJ is going to go ahead and their voice is going to tell you when to skip ahead to, and you can always check the show notes for the next bookmark. But yeah, we are going to be talking a little bit about some domestic violence and sexual assault. So please skip ahead if you find that to be traumatic.
32-57.
So there's been two big pieces of news over the last little bit around this. The first is just dropping over the last couple of days is that former Vancouver Canuck and Anaheim Duck player Ryan Kesler has been charged with 4th-degree sexual assault, if I'm reading this correctly, in his home state of Michigan. And the other is the dismissal of Washington assistant coach Mitch Love for reported incidents of domestic violence. One of the things I think we want to talk about is with Kesler, there's been a few things from his backstory that have always kind of suggested that this is a character that has made some questionable decisions. And we looked this up, and I know, Trevor, you said that, and again, we were going to say allegedly here when it talks about charges and those sorts of things. I know you said there were some rumors surrounding his time in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a incident where he recorded what was supposed to be a jovial video of him walking naked through the Anaheim Ducks management office, posted to their Twitter account, which they then had to pull. And he's also someone who's struggled with painkillers and some other issues. I think what I wanted to talk about, and the thing that went through my mind when I was reading the updated article from Strang and Gentili on The Athletic today, is hockey culture seems to permeate through these men's lives from the time they're young all the way up until they are very, very retired. I don't want to say old because Kesler's not old and Mitch Love's not old. They're not old men. They're men otherwise in the prime of life, but for whom the ability to play professional high-level sports has passed by. And I want to talk about accountability within hockey culture, because it does seem like we see different aspects. We see failures of accountability, but I think what we saw this week with Mitch Love is a level of accountability. And I want to talk about whether or not I think the league is taking the steps they need to take in order to protect themselves and to protect the people who surround hockey players from the consequences of this very toxic culture. So, Trevor, I know we were talking about this, and we'll say allegedly for all the things that are going to come up here, because obviously we do not know. But Trevor, you said that around Kesler specifically, there's always been a level of rumor. I know he was with Vancouver for quite a long time.
Yeah. So basically, and in doing some digging, whether it be like through some news articles and also just like, the scourge of hockey, whether it be some Reddit threads on our Canucks or HF boards. My first time ever venturing to that, so I don't recommend it. But basically, he's just always been seen as kind of just real cocky, but also just like all around jerk. A lot of bad stories about like him with interactions with other people, but culminating in an unproven rumor that he might have messed around with a teammate's wife, which led to said teammate getting shipped out, and then Kesler also moving on soon after. So take from that what you will, but there's always been a level of controversy in that regard. I mean, it might also just be a little bit of sour grapes considering how he left the city. We've never fully, I think, forgiven him for it, even though it's been enough time past. But I digress. And with that said, like how he got into that position, though, it might be a little more simple than we think. And pro hockey player, kid is playing for team. So that explains potentially how he got there. And as mentioned, he got immediately removed, which is good on the team. Just remove him from that eye while this all gets sorted out. And if it turns out that he did do it, then yikes. But yeah, immediately just nip that in the bud.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that, like, for these former pro players, they're like these kinds of like low level rumors and stories don't really follow them into their post playing world. Like it can be kind of it can be sort of like well known in a market that someone might not be a very great guy, but that doesn't matter if you have a chance to have a former pro hockey player coaching your development team. Like basically that's the only qualification you need in for a lot of these programs. And it's the benefit of the doubt is always given and is always heavily given. I'm not so sure that's necessarily wrong, considering that like rumors and talk are not proof of anything. And you can't convict someone on that. So, and nor should you. But it is true that like reputational, a former pro player can take a lot more reputational damage than just any other person in these contexts.
I was going to say, I feel like it's almost expected that these guys have some amount of, oh, maybe he was kind of a jerk at some point when he was younger, but oh, he was young, he was new to the league, whatever. He's grown now, he's retired, he's volunteering to coach these kids. And so it's easy to say, that's some real, boys will be boys. If it was just, yeah, maybe there was something with a teammate's wife, or, oh, he was nasty to fans or whatever, rather than, I think if you've got more serious allegations, I would hope at least in youth coaching that would carry a little more weight and parents would be more hesitant to bring a guy on. But also, like you said, SJ, if someone shows up with a former NHL player to coach your kids' hockey team, most people are going to take that and not question it.
I mean, there's also, like, most parents have very little say who's coaching their program. A lot of these programs now are also run by NHL teams. There was all of that. There was recently all of that talk about how the Dallas Stars had totally taken over all of the kids development leagues in the Dallas area, and the parents really hated this one coach, and the Stars backed this coach to an incredible degree. So it like once you're in, you're very in. Even down to the U10 level, it's all one culture, and it's all run by a small group of people who mostly know each other.
Let's not forget about the time that the Hyman family bought an entire junior league so that Zach and his brothers could get prime playing time. So like these sorts of leagues are incredibly politicized in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. And there isn't a lot of choice for most of the players in them. You have to be a pretty high level player before you can start dictating at that level.
Yeah.
We don't know Ryan Kesler personally, obviously. We don't know his past. We don't know if there's been any history of sexual abuse, either that he's done previously, again, allegedly, or we don't know if there's a Graham James type figure who lives in his past. We do know that he participated in a media stunt when he was a member of the Ducks, where he was, according to a video, wandering around the management office naked in front of a bunch of women and other people. In real life, someone walking into an office naked would be sexual harassment. It would be pretty firm. The Ducks played this up for jokes. I'm sure he wasn't actually naked. They put a little black box around his groinal area. I'm sure he's wearing shorts, but
sorry, I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at
video.
It's such a dumb video and very, very tasteless, and it does make you think about the person's judgment. But I guess what I have to say is, if someone really did the things he's been accused of, then they deserve the right, to have to make up their debt to society, and they should certainly not be allowed to be in charge of the Little Caesars AAA program, which is one of the top, if not the top, junior hockey program in the United States. And he has been removed from that position as well as from USA Hockey activities. And for those who don't remember previous conversations we've had, USA Hockey is also centered in Detroit, with USA Hockey Arena being in the Detroit suburbs, and one of the places we've mentioned is a possible arena for a Detroit PWHL team. His attorney says that he denies the allegations. And Little Caesars Hockey has released a statement saying that Kesler was removed from his position while this matter is addressed by the judicial system, and the allegation was not connected to the organization. Rumors on Twitter and Bluesky suggest it was at a New Year's party, as it was reported on January 2nd.
So really? I saw it reported January 1st. So,
well, according to this article, it says the alleged incident was reported on January 2nd.
I will concede to that then.
Do we think it is good to see someone losing a prime position in a post-hockey career like this?
Yes.
I mean, I think that's an obvious answer. But
in any other job, if you got, if you were going to trial for sexual assault, you would lose your job.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to be immune to that just because you used to play in the NHL.
It's almost
I don't think that I don't think they had any other choice but to remove him. And the fact that there are the fact that that charges were filed, that brings it to a whole other level of seriousness and legal liability for these groups.
And I think the nature of him being a youth coach, and at least the initial reports being that these charges are regarding a minor, I don't think you can get away with not getting him out immediately, finding that out.
Mm-hmm.
Just because this is like a former player, and this is someone that you might have looked up to as a hero when you were younger, that doesn't mean that they should be immune from any of this. If anything, they should be scrutinized even heavier, because regardless of what your stature is in terms of your playing career now, whether you are still playing, whether you're long retired, you are looked at under a microscope as a role model, and you need to be held to that accountability and to that level. And if you, let alone doing what he has allegedly done, if you can't live up to that, then yeah.
I think youth sports in the United States has had a fair few moments of reckoning over the past little bit. There's the USA gymnastics scandal. There was swimming scandals. I think that it is very important for people involved in youth sports to try to move very quickly to separate themselves from anything like this. I also think that this sort of lack of judgment, while you can handle, let's assume that there's a guilty plea or that there's a guilty finding, you can pay back your debt to society. But before you, given what he was doing, being in charge of children, before you get back to anything like that, I think there is a much larger debt that you have to pay in terms of education and bettering oneself. And it's one of those things where I think maybe you just should never do that again. When I was young, I was involved in scouting, and there were just, if you had any hint on your record in Canada, they wouldn't let you near a scout troop. And a lot of the background checks coaches are supposed to do for hockey now in Canada are the same way. And this is not a Canada versus USA thing. It's just that's my area of knowledge directly. I think that not throwing the book at him from a legal sense, but from a be away from hockey sense, I think is very, very, a very strong message to other people out there who would show similar, who would do similar things.
We've talked about this in the context of players. This is a privilege, not a right. You don't have a right to be coaching youth hockey because you played. If you can't behave like a civilized human being, you don't get to participate in society like that.
It's a social thing, right? Like, whether obviously there is a level of we want the best person for the job, but it's also a social thing. What is acceptable for what role in a public facing organization is acceptable for someone to have? This is not someone who's trying to earn a living after getting out of a prison sentence. This is someone who made millions of dollars over the course of their career and does not necessarily need a job. So yeah, I think a guy like Kesler, unless this comes out to be something completely, a complete falsehood, which, let's be honest, that doesn't happen, he shouldn't be allowed near the game of hockey in that capacity anymore. Closest you should be able to get to the game of hockey is the stands. Mm-hmm. I think that will bring us to the other big thing that happened, which was Mitch Love. So I've got that pulled up here. I want to read the Capitals PR statement, which was Mitch Love has been relieved of his duties as an assistant coach effective immediately. This decision follows the findings of an NHL-led investigation into past allegations. The organization is committed to maintaining the highest standards of conduct and accountability. The league statement said Love will be eligible to apply for reinstatement for the 26-27 season, subject to certain conditions.
We've got the secret NHL reinstatement conditions.
The NHL does love those.
Oh, they can be whatever Gary wants.
One of the things that I was interested they didn't do in the most recent CBA was try to establish some level of parameters for this around players. As that was being negotiated, obviously there were multiple players suspended under Gary's super secret rules.
Yes. It is weird, isn't it, that the union didn't want spelled out criteria. The NHL doesn't have a public domestic violence policy. That is certainly nothing has been negotiated with the union. There's, as far as I know, there's no agreement with the coaching union, the coaches union, which the Mitch Love stuff comes under. It's odd. It definitely seems like a gap.
The cynical part of me worries that the reason they don't have anything codified is because some of Gary's rules for getting back in may be more lenient than they would potentially want to have documented. I'm hoping that's just really cynical and me looking at this as worst case.
But, the league's done enough to make you think that, and that speaks volumes.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's the question box, right? We don't know what's in the box. We don't know. Gary could have required Joel Quenneville to show that he performed 100 hours of community service and that he did counseling and that he got, statements supporting a bunch, evolution from a bunch of psychiatrists. Or he could have just went, it's been 3 years. We don't know.
And nobody will answer questions when they're asked about what work they've done to get readmitted.
I remember when they announced that, because it was during free agent frenzy, they announced that Quenneville and Bowman were back, and Button immediately goes, well, he's done the work. And it just felt to me like Button was texted by someone from the Quenneville or Bowman camp to say, well, when this happens, he's done the work. I want you to know that. And no one wants to quantify what that means. And I'll be honest with you, I would find room if there was proper work being done to at least better understand why these guys are in a position of return to the NHL. I don't think that work's been done by Carter Hart and his ilk at all. And we won't know about Mitch Love down the road. I do think, and I've said this before, I do think that it is possible for someone to make mistakes and to atone for them and to grow and to prove it and to be allowed to resume a career. I think that's possible. But it shouldn't be the default position that you just go away for a couple of years and come back. So
it would be nice if they told the fans what the standard was.
Yeah.
There just seems to be absolutely no appetite for it. And I think they probably, Gary and all of them, they probably think that there's either no way to satisfy the fans, or it's not worth trying to.
I think so. I agree with you. I don't want to know the specifics of what they are. I don't need to know how many hours of counseling someone did, but I would like to hear that there are what the thresholds sound like. And I am concerned that it is a 73-year-old sports lawyer who is making these decisions and not someone with any background in, say, restorative justice or, recoverative therapy for these sorts of things. So I'm not someone who sits here and thinks Gary Bettman is the worst thing that's ever happened to hockey. I know a lot of people have that opinion, especially in Canada, but I also don't think that he is somehow uniquely poised to make these sorts of decisions over who should and shouldn't be participating in the game at its highest levels.
Yeah.
That being said, I do think that the Capitals unambiguously relieving Love of his duties is a very good thing. And hopefully it is a warning to those who would make similar mistakes in the future to maybe think twice. I don't think we ever get to a situation where domestic violence, the sexual assault, and other very bad things stop occurring, because that's human nature to an extent.
I mean, a lot of things aren't hockey culture problems. They're our culture problems.
Yes. And hockey culture intensifies it many times.
Yeah.
But I do think that we live in a world where it is harder and harder to cover such things up for a longer period of time. There's more video, there's more recordings. People are becoming, and we might be in a little bit of a regression for this, but in general are becoming more willing to speak out, even when there's no chance of getting legal, repercussions handed out. So the NHL needs to realize they're in a modern era and at least put out what it's going to look like when somebody does that. And I would like to see them establish those types of policies.
Well, they're not going to happen under this commissioner. We can only hope for the next.
No, and I think one of these days we're going to talk about Gary Bettman's legacy as commissioner. Everyone knows I've been working on this very long script about Alan Eagleson, who is a famous hockey asshole, but I have a follow-up in mind, probably 2 or 3 down the road. That would be Gary Bettman. Is he a hockey asshole? And it's mostly an examination of what he's actually done and his real legacy. And it's an open question, because I think Gary Bettman has done some very bad things, and I think Gary Bettman has worked very hard in some ways. But this is an area where it almost seems like the breadth of the problem is too much for him to really handle. So he's just said, all right, I'm going to be in charge of who's allowed to hockey and who's not allowed to hockey, and no one's allowed to question it. And everyone's allowing it to happen.
What you said, the breadth of the problem is too much for him to handle, and I meant my brain went like the concussions.
The concussions, I think, is another piece. Yeah, that's the concussions, and the concussions are not a Gary Bettman problem. And in my opinion, no commissioner has done more to reduce the amount of concussions in the NHL than Gary Bettman. But he's also the one for whom the conversation went from in the background, where hockey players would talk about concussions in an abstract sense, to it being a very open discussion. He's basically, even though the NHL has taken concrete strides to reduce headshots during Gary Bettman's term as commissioner, he has also taken his head and shoved it in the sand. And he's like, concussions? What concussions? Why me worry? So, and again, I think that there's something like they're doing something about it, but they're saying there's no problem. And those two things do not jive.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a little far from where I wanted to get, but I think it is fair to say that the next commissioner will be asked to account for domestic violence and sexual assault on a broader scale. I think with the multitude of sexual assault scandals that have embroiled the NHL in the last 5 years, that it should be a mandate from the Board of Governors that the next commissioner come up with a way not to stop it, because that's an impossible task, but a way that the NHL handles it from an accountability perspective, designed to make it clear that people who participate in these things should not be playing in the game at the highest level or involved with the game at the highest level. Yeah. Any final thoughts?
I'm just glad that repercussions seem to be heavy and immediate instead of dragging it out because these are our boys, quote unquote.
Yeah. The speed with which Kesler was removed, I think, is good. The speed with which Love was removed is good. I think about how long things percolated around the Blackhawks and how long things percolated around the Hockey Canada 5. And I think that maybe the speed is helpful. I don't know. It's just something that that the next commissioner, I shouldn't say he, but it's going to be a guy. Like, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
It's something the next commissioner will have to figure out. So, folks, we are going to take a quick break. Thank you for listening. We're trying to have these honest conversations because we're trying to figure it out too. And we want the game to be better. We really do. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the news, and we're going to play a fun little game that I've devised. So, folks, if you are listening and having a good time, please thumbs up, smash the like button, 5 stars, tell a friend, do all those great things. Join our Discord, neutralzonehotel.com/Discord, and come tell us if you're having a good time, or tell us if you think we're a bunch of idiots. I mean, that works too. I can't guarantee you'll last long on the Discord. Oh, yeah. Yeah. True. Which one?
Me.
Yeah, Trevor put his hands up. All right.
I'd be the first to admit it. You know this.
Folks, we're back. Thanks so much for hanging on. All right, so we're going to talk about some other things. What was on the list? SJ, what was on the list? Remind me.
You wanted to talk about Lansdowne 2.0.
Yes, I sure did. So, folks, the Ottawa Charge and the Ottawa 67s play out of TD Place Arena in the Lansdowne Sports Entertainment Complex in Ottawa. So that's where the football stadium is, where the Red Blacks play, Ottawa's Canadian Football League team. And underneath the northern side of the stadium, so right underneath right underneath the stands is TD Place Arena, which has an roughly 8,300 person capacity for Charge games.
It's a really weird arena.
Yeah.
It is.
That sounds so bizarre.
It's
It is.
backwards.
Yeah.
It is backwards.
I don't like that.
The first time I walked into it, I was just like, why is it sloping down? Oh, that's a football stadium halfway through the roof. Huh.
Yeah. So you probably will never get the chance to go there, Emily, because it is being torn down pretty soon. But TD Place Arena is, it was open for Canada's centennial year in 1967. Multiple prime ministers have won their leadership there. Puck dropped on the very first Women's World Championship on that ice. And most importantly, Iron Maiden played their very first ever Ottawa concert there.
So much history.
So much history.
Yeah, screw the Ottawa Senators 2.0 playing there. Iron Maiden is the most important thing.
Yeah, the Senators started there. That's true, but yeah, who cares with them? The arena's in rough shape. They used to be able. They can no longer do events up top and down below because of structural issues. When you look at it, it's aged. It's out of date. It gets very cold in the winter because it's got a giant slope exposed to the elements. So the plan is to tear it down, build a new set of stadium stands that don't have an arena underneath, and then build at the foot of the football stadium a 5,700 person arena. The challenge is that the Ottawa Charge routinely sell out that building at 8,300 on weekends and currently draw at least 6,000 a night on weekdays. Since the plan was announced, Charge fans have been very upset because they don't want to pay more for tickets and they're worried about the arena being too small and they don't want to have to go to Canada because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Those all feel like reasonable complaints.
But the news broke that the PWHL has directly approached the city of Ottawa and told them their plans are insufficient for PWHL use. So I think my question is, at what point does the PWHL, which as we know is only playing roughly 13 home games, with 2 of them being away for takeovers, at what point should the PWHL weigh into these sorts of arena decisions? And for Ottawa, what happens if the arena goes through and they decide to move the team?
Oh, man, I didn't even want to think of that being a possibility, but
The PWHL has said all options are on the table.
oh boy.
Do we know how quickly they're making, like, when is the current building coming down? When is the new one being built? Like, how much time do they have to try to lobby for different plans?
So very timely. The final debate on it is tomorrow in Ottawa City Council.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Yep.
Oh boy.
I mean, I don't know that they have enough sway, but maybe if maybe they can make a compelling argument to at least keep the existing capacity or something.
I mean, this was an arena clearly designed to be better for the OHL team, the 67s. They play 34 games a year there. The current arena is really too big for them. A 5,700 seat arena is perfect, kind of the perfect size for the 67s. They're the primary tenant. And the PWHL kind of knew going in that this was the plan. I think there seems to be a lot of feeling in the Ottawa mayor's office that this shouldn't have been a surprise or a shock to the PWHL. This was always the plan, has been for years. And it almost feels like really the PWHL should have said something after the first year, maybe not after 2 years. I also kind of like, I get it though. Like, they did not anticipate that they would be selling 8,000 seats a night. The Charge didn't anticipate that. They thought maybe this would be they went into a Toronto building that only seated a little over 2,000 for their first year. They've really outperformed their market projection in Ottawa. And I think that has kind of put them honestly, it's probably a great problem for them to be having. But at the same time, like, long term, don't they really just want to be in LeBreton Flats rather than in the OHL arena?
I would think that's the answer. So LeBreton Flats is the downtown area where the Senators are in the middle of negotiating, and I think they now have a lease for the land.
Yeah.
Or the agreement for a lease for the land for 99 years. It is owned by the National Capital Region. But here's the other challenge. The city of Ottawa is going to spend $400 million on Lansdowne 2.0. 400 million Canadian dollars. That's like $1.65 American. Their plan requires the Ottawa Charge and their 13 hockey games because it's heavily based on profit because of ticket revenue.
Interesting.
So if they come in below ticket revenue, they're in trouble. On top of that, the Red Blacks, which is the primary tenant of the stadium, only has an agreement to stay in the city until 2032. That's when their lease ends. and they haven't been a particularly profitable franchise. So there's a lot of question marks around, will sports teams stay if they feel the arena and the stadium doesn't suit their needs?
Yeah, it kind of feels like it would be in the city's best interest to increase the seating capacity so they can continue getting that gate revenue from the charge games, especially anticipating that the number of charge games is going to increase in future seasons as the league expands.
On the other hand, if they think that the charge is just waiting to go to LeBreton Flats, how much are they going to count on that revenue? Like they don't have a commitment from the charge either way. And if they increase seating capacity, that's going to make the price tag go up. Like those extra 3,000 seats are not free.
The mayor has said that adding 1,000 seats would add $100 million to the plan, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine 1,000 extra seats is a significant amount of square footage and probably increases the height by, however much. And that means the roof is also, I understand how you get there, but also that does feel like an extremely high number.
I guess my question is, does this plan work for anybody besides the 67s?
So right now, TD Place Arena is the number 2 largest venue in the city of Ottawa. Obviously, excluding outdoor things like the stadium, which rarely does concerts, Parliament Hill, which has been used for concerts and other events in the past, and the Salt Flats, which hosts Ottawa's annual festival, Blues Fest. As a result, it's actually pretty active. I've gone to a fair few concerts there, and they do wrestling and they do comedy shows. So it is in demand. And this plan would end up with a smaller stadium for those events. The way that TD Place is built is the vast majority of the seats, about 6,500, are on one side. So when you close out when you put someone in, how like in a normal arena, it's got your hockey arena in the middle, and you put the stage on one end and you kind of just black out that side. In TD Place, because it's lopsided, they put the stadium in the middle of center ice at the far end of the arena, and then they just close out the single sections behind those and sometimes the ends. So yeah, they get about 6,500 in there. There's no way they'll be able to put 6,500 in a stadium or an arena that's only designed to have 5,700 seated, even with standing room in the rink zone. So they are significantly reducing the size of the space that they're renting out for other events. And again, I was joking about Iron Maiden earlier, but they put pretty large concerts in there. They put very large music, like comedy acts there, like Gabriel Iglesias has been there and Sarah Millican's been there. And they use it for a lot of events like the World Junior Hockey Championships. They use it for a lot of events like political rallies. The liberal leadership has been held there. Liberal leadership events have been held there multiple times. That's where Mark Carney had his election night party. They rented the whole stadium out and they packed it and they had themselves a good time.
Did they have ice skating open or no?
I'm pretty sure the ice would have been out.
Not a good party then.
No, they could have.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, Ken Dryden was quite ill, so he couldn't have been there at the time to show them all how it's done. It should just show Mark Carney how it's done in Nets. But for those who forget, our prime minister was he is on Elite Prospects. He has an Elite Prospects page.
Always trending on Elite Prospects. It's weird.
I do have a couple quick things to add as well. One, I'm just going to take a couple quick shots at Ottawa football. If the Red Blacks do go, this would not be the first time Ottawa has lost a football team. This would not be the second time Ottawa has lost a football team. But I was also doing a bit of number crunching earlier on. I looked up the average attendance for a 67s game and then the average attendance for a Charge game and multiplied all that out. If you go based on the sheer amount of people that have gone through and bought tickets, in the 34 home games for the 67s, 132,090 butts went into seats throughout the year. For what I saw of 11 home games at TD Place, 76,654 charge fans. So that is over 1/3 of the fans coming through for maybe a quarter of the events that you're potentially missing out on.
Yep. And the intent is to, and the stated intent in the public accounting is ticket surcharges on all these events to pay for parts of the, to pay for parts of the renovation. So it seems to me if you are talking about getting rid of 13-ish plus playoffs events a year, that's a big accounting hole that they have to come up with.
Oh yeah, dude, that calculation didn't even count playoffs. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, it's, in my opinion, it's a plan that I think they just want to push through because they don't give a shit about the charge. But they are also using the charge to make the math work. And I just think that that's hypocritical.
Yeah, that's your most successful hockey franchise in the city, and it's not close.
Hey, the Sens have made a finals once.
They made the playoffs last year. They got, 2 home games?
Yeah, but, like, the Charge got, 4 home games in the playoffs last year? That's, $10K purse. That gets you up to over 11,000. So, basically, if you count the playoffs, the Charge were, like, just under 20K less than 34 games of the 67s.
Yeah.
This is your bread and butter, and you should be appealing to them because obviously the fan base is there for it.
I'm just going to put it this way. The Ottawa Charge have never had to stoop to the level of $2 hot dog night and wiener dog races to get me in the door. Although the wiener dog race was very fun.
I love wiener dog race.
I was going to say, the wiener dog race would be a bonus.
Yeah, but see, and that's the thing.
For a game I would already want to go to.
Exactly, but that's the thing. For the Charge, that is a bonus. For the 67s, that's a selling feature. And that's not good.
Although, to be fair, I booked the wiener dog game just because when it was in the schedule, not because it was the wiener. It was a happy coincidence.
I always on my Silver Tips Flex Pass, I always make sure to pick the dog race games.
There you go.
As you should.
And they do sell out.
So we're going to do a game, folks. I have put together a game for my 3 co-hosts that I think they're going to enjoy. I hinted a little bit earlier with what it is, but I'm going to give you the name and I want to explain the rules now. So the game is called Sid or Not Sid. So in honor of Sidney Crosby reaching the 1,700-point milestone, I've put together a series of biographical statements. Each biographical statement applies to either Sidney Crosby or not Sidney Crosby. Okay?
I'm ready.
All right. I'm
so excited.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna read the biographical statement. We're gonna go around the table. So I'm gonna give some to each of you. And I have a tie break in case there's a tie. I'm going to read you a biographical question. You're going to tell me if it's Sid or if it's not Sid for a point. And then if you know who the not Sid is, because each of these is going to be similar to another person. So who am I thinking? Who is the not Sid or who is the near not Sid? You can tell me who they are for another point. If they get it wrong, then someone else can steal. We're just going to do the old hands up.
Okay.
Hands are going to be down to start. Trevor. No, SJ, do not just stick your hand up in the air. Don't do that. All right. I will announce when you can steal and just say your name. So you say Trevor, you say SJ, you say Emily. If you are Trevor, SJ, or Emily in that order, I'll try to figure it out. And then, we'll just keep track of points, but they won't matter. How does that sound? All right.
Good to me.
So
delightful.
Who wants? I'm gonna do a Ryan Lambert here, and I'm just gonna roll a die to determine who goes first. And it's gonna be 1, 2 for Emily, 3, 4 for Trevor, and 5, 6 for SJ. It's a 3. So Trevor, you must wait until I finish reading the entire thing, and I ask Sid or not Sid before you answer. Okay.
Okay.
All right. This player after several years in the Nova Scotia Bantam hockey system, decided to decamp to Minnesota to spend time at Shattuck St. Mary's. After 1 year in Minnesota, he played 2 years in the QMJHL before becoming the first overall pick in the NHL entry draft. Is that Sid or not Sid?
That is Sid.
Correct. So 1 point for Trevor. Who is the not Sid? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm opening of the floor. Emily.
Is it Nathan MacKinnon?
It is. The not Sid is Nathan MacKinnon. Do you know what the difference is between Sid and the not Sid in this case?
The year
did
they
Nathan
did that?
So the years are always going to be different. There is a specific line in the biographical statement that applies specifically to Sid. There's no points for this. Let's just get the trivia out there.
Is it that Nathan MacKinnon didn't go to Minnesota to play at St.
He
Shattuck
did.
or whatever?
The difference is that Nathan MacKinnon did 2 years at Shattuck St. Mary's, and Sidney Crosby did 1 year at Shattuck St. Mary's.
Okay.
It's going to be like that. All right,
They
SJ,
really
are
are
you ready?
best friends.
Sigh from SJ.
SJ, are you ready for your question?
I'm ready, but Leif might not be.
Okay, let's feed Leif.
Well, okay. All right, that's your treat. Go away. It's after it's dinner time. I haven't fed
It's
him yet.
all staying in. All right. This NHL player, during his time in the QMJHL, led his franchise to the Memorial Cup. He then went on to a long NHL career, having been drafted first overall. The QMJHL later retired his number league-wide. Is this Sid or not Sid?
Sid?
That is wrong. It is a not Sid. SJ, do you know, because you get first shot, do you know who the not Sid is?
I don't.
Okay, opening it up.
Trevor.
Trevor.
Is this Mario Lemieux?
It is not Mario Lemieux.
What?
His number is not retired
What?
league-wide by the QMJHL.
What?
Emily, do you have a guess at the not Sid?
I do not.
The only other player whose number is retired by the QMJHL league-wide is Guy Lafleur.
Okay.
The difference is that Guy Lafleur led the Quebec Remparts to the Memorial Cup, whereas the Rimouski Oceanic fell short. They lost in the final game.
I was never going to know that.
I mean, you know.
How is
it's okay.
Mario's number not retired league-wide? What are we doing?
I don't know. You'll have to take that up.
I honestly, I think that the bar for retiring a player's number league-wide needs to be in outer space.
I personally think
Yeah.
the only person who should ever have been done for is Jackie Robinson. I think that's it.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
That
All right,
seems reasonable.
Emily.
Yes.
This NHL player, drafted first overall, arrived with great fanfare to his new club. In a gesture of togetherness, a surefire future Hall of Famer and fellow first overall pick invited the player to live with him to help him acclimate to the expectations of challenges of a high-level pick in the NHL. Is this Sid or not Sid?
I feel like there's some little detail that makes me want to say not Sid just because it feels too obviously Sid. I think it's Sid. I'm saying Sid.
It is not Sid. Do you know who the not Sid is?
No.
All right,
No,
opening
I
it
do
up.
not.
Can you I ask for it to be reread one more time?
This NHL player, drafted first overall, arrived with great fanfare to his new club. In a gesture of togetherness, a surefire future Hall of Famer and fellow first overall pick invited the player to live with him to help him acclimate to the expectations and challenges of being in the NHL. Is this Sid or not Sid?
Yeah, so we already determined it's not. Oh no.
This is a hard game.
This is a hard game.
3, 2, 1. I'm just going to go,
Yeah.
The not Sid is Macklin Celebrini. So, of course, when Sidney Crosby moved to Pittsburgh, he lived with Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux was already in the Hall of Fame, having been inducted in 1997 on his first retirement. Joe Thornton, with whom Macklin Celebrini lived for his first year, was not yet named to the Hall of Fame at that time.
I did not remember that Celebrini moved in with Joe Thornton.
The worst part too is in my head, I'm like, Joe Thornton was a number 2 pick.
Number 1. 1997.
No,
number one.
because Marlowe was number 2.
Yes, correct.
I couldn't remember whether which one of the two Sharks babies was assigned to which one of the two Sharks old men.
Also, if I can get 30 more seconds quickly, SJ, you said in order for a player's number to get retired league-wide, the bar needed to be astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read you Mario Lemieux's stat line for his year 18 season in the Q. Played 70 games, scored 133 goals, with 149 assists for 282 points, as well as getting 29 goals and 23 assists in 14 playoff games for 52 points as they went to the Memorial Cup.
Yeah.
I think the bar should go far beyond stats, and there should be like some kind of like social or cultural or, you know, some kind of like lasting legacy that goes beyond the actual game on the ice.
I agree. All right, Trevor.
What's up?
This NHL player, one of the few to score more than 100 points in his rookie season, came second to a goal-scoring phenomenon in the Calder Trophy voting, despite setting an NHL record that would last until the 21-22 NHL season. Is this Sid or not Sid?
What? If he did with the record, I don't think this is not Sid.
Correct. Do you know who the not Sid is?
I know who set the record. I don't know. Who was the other 100 point in 92, 93? It's not Joey Juneau, is it?
It is Joe Juneau.
The record is most assists by a winger, by a left winger in a season. Correct. At the time.
So Sidney Crosby has 2 official NHL records from his rookie season that have not been broken. They are youngest player to record 100 points in a season and only player rookie to record 100 points and 100 penalty minutes in a season, whereas Joe Juneau's record was broken by Jonathan Huberdeau,
Artemi Panarin,
Artemi Panarin, and Johnny Gaudreau in the 21-22 season.
Dang, that year was crazy. That year was so cool.
It was a crazy year.
I can't believe that you were able to pull Joe Juneau.
That was incredible.
That's a famous Sean McIndoe talked about that all the time stat.
Okay.
All right, SJ.
Hello.
This Canadian hockey player who scored the golden goal against Team USA at the Olympics was named captain of Team Canada for a later Olympics game, and then seeking his 3rd gold medal at an Italian-based Olympics. Is this Sid or is this not Sid?
It's Sid, right?
It is not Sid. Oh, no, wait, hold on. That is Sid. It is Sid. Sorry.
Hey!
Yeah.
Hey!
No, you're right. Just my notes were not clear. I forgot to put the asterisks around Sid or not Sid, because there's always... But do you know who the not Sid is? Who's this close to?
I don't know.
Opening it up to the floor?
How many gold medals does Marie-Philippe Poulin have?
I'm just going to call it there. The not Sid in this case is Joe Sakic.
Okay,
So
that was going to be my guess, and then I overthought it.
Joe Sakic, when he went to the 2006 Olympics, was seeking his 2nd gold medal.
Yeah, in Turin.
That's the difference.
Wait, did
All right.
Joe Sakic has a golden goal?
Sure does.
Yes, he scored the 3rd goal in the 2002 finals.
And the 5th.
And the 5th. Correct.
As Canadians will never let Americans forget.
I've already forgotten.
This NHL player, a previous 1st overall pick, is one of 3 players to win consecutive Conn Smythe trophies. However, he was overshadowed for his 2nd Conn Smythe by a star winger on his team, who later became famous for his endurance and ability to play a ton of professional games. Is this Sid or is this not Sid?
Not Sid.
I'm afraid it's Sid. Do you know who the Not Sid is?
I was going to guess Connor McDavid.
No,
but
sorry.
I don't think that's right.
Opening this up. Who's the Not Sid in this case?
Did you say consecutive Conn Smythe?
I did say consecutive Conn Smythe.
I was not listening, and I processed that as the heart, not the Conn Smythe. That makes me feel like an idiot.
Sorry.
One back to back.
All right, we're gonna call that the Not Sid is Mario Lemieux. So the winger. So obviously Mario Lemieux had a star winger who is now famous for playing a lot of games, which is Jaromir Jagr. And Sidney Crosby was overshadowed by many people, argued by Phil Kessel in his second run to the Conn Smythe there in 2017. All right, back to Trevor. This is the last round. Trevor, this NHL player, a first overall pick famous for wearing his birth year as his number, was a prodigious scorer from the beginning of his career, scoring over 100 points in 4 of his first 5 seasons. Is this Sid or not Sid?
It's not Sid.
It is Sid. But who do you think the not Sid is?
Connor McDavid.
Correct. The reason it is Sid is because Sidney Crosby scored 100 or more points in 4 of his first 5 seasons. Connor McDavid did not. He scored 97 points because of the COVID lockout and did not hit 100 points in his 5th year.
Sucks to suck.
SJ.
Hi.
This NHL player, captain of his team, is considered to have been paid below his actual value for his entire career. In order to keep his NHL team competitive, he recently signed an extension for 2 years at the exact same value as his previous long-term contract. Is this Sid or not Sid?
Is it Sid or is it Connor McDavid?
That is the question.
Sid sign for 3 years? I think he did. So I think this is not Sid.
It is not Sid. And do you know who the not Sid is? Or sorry, it is Sid. Do you know who the not Sid is?
I thought it wasn't. Wait, and now I'm confused.
No, I'm confused. You said it's not Sid. It is not Sid. Do you know who the not Sid is?
It's Connor McDavid.
Yes. So the reason I'm going by here is it's not. They both signed 2-year deals. But Connor McDavid specifically, it was all about keeping the team competitive. Sidney Crosby, it was all about keeping things the same. Very famously, the superstitious number. All right.
I could have sworn that was a 3-year deal, but
you got the 2 points. Just walk away.
That
with
was longer than 2.
Okay.
The difference is that Sid signed it at the beginning before, like he signed it.
Oh, he extended early.
Yeah, so did Connor, but there was more drama around it.
Plus, it's just fresher in my mind.
All right, I'm going to go. I got one more for Emily. So this Canadian hockey player who first scored an Olympic competition at the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver is expected to serve as Team Canada captain in 2026. The player's most recent Olympic outing is the primary reason they won the Northern Star Award for top athlete in Canada. Is this Sid or not Sid?
It's got to be Sid, right?
It is not Sid. Can you?
Is it Marie-Philippe Poulin?
It is Marie-Philippe Poulin.
God damn it!
So that is true of all. Of course, everything there is true of both of them, except for the Northern Star Award.
The North Star Award.
Marie-Philippe Poulin won the Northern Star Award in 2022, primarily for her golden goal against Team USA. Although Sidney Crosby has won 2 Northern Star Awards, they were in 27 and 29, so well before. He did not win one in 2010, Trevor. He didn't.
No. 27 and 29?
You said 27 and 29.
I'm assuming you mean 2007,
2007, 2009. All right, and I'm going to throw
out that you already know he's won them in the future.
Would you be surprised?
No.
So Trevor has 4 points, SJ 3, and Emily 2. Congratulations. I am going to read out the tiebreak question since we don't need it. This NHL player, who is not yet named to Hockey Hall of Fame, was the 4th fastest to reach the 1,700 point milestone in the NHL. Is this Sid or is this not Sid?
This is not Sid.
Not Sid.
It is Sid. Who is the not Sid?
Is it Jaromir Jagr?
It is Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah, high five, Emily.
Sidney Crosby.
I was waiting for the Yager setup.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby beat Jagr. Jagr used to be the fourth fastest.
Okay.
He no longer is. As of last
I
night,
didn't realize that Sid beat him.
as of last night, Sid beat him to the punch by about 45 games. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Sid and Not Sid. I hope you enjoyed.
Fun. That was great. Well done.
That was a great game.
Round of applause
Very
for you,
difficult,
Benjamin.
but yes, good job.
Pat yourself on the
for
back.
that one.
No, a Northern Star for that
Don't blow
one.
out your
Yeah,
mic.
Northern Star Award for your.
No. Let's not besmirch the name of that prestigious award. All right, folks. Thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed our show. But we're going to head out now. So thanks for your stay. This has been the Neutral Zone Hotel, written, hosted, and produced by the Neutral Zone Hotel crew. That's us. You can find out more at neutralzonehotel.com, neutralzonehotel.com/Discord to join our Discord. We're on Bluesky and YouTube at Neutral Zone Hotel. Smash the like button, thumbs up, 5 stars. Tell someone you like if you're having a good time. Send us an email, feedback@neutralzonehotel.com. As always, thanks to our friend Emily Mowbray for designing our incredible logo. And folks, we will see you during your next stay. Take care.
Go Jays.